Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring Kadir Kubaşık's 2025 book, The In-Between. It features his photographs and text by Laura Kubaşık. Our mission here isn't just looking at pretty pictures. It's really about digging into Kubaşık's approach, how he uses photography, well, almost like an intuitive inquiry.
Right. Moving beyond just the surface.
Exactly. The book isn't about a story, not really. It's more like a pause, focusing on what you sense rather than just what you see clearly.
And that central concept, Araf, is key right from the start.
Tell us about that.
Well, Kubaşık presents it as this temporary station. It's on his inner map, somewhere between the conscious and unconscious mind.
So like a threshold.
Precisely. A threshold you can't quite cross, but once you've glimpsed it, it stays with you. It's unforgettable.
Interesting. And the book talks about his art being a mirror, not really an escape. What does that mean here?
It suggests it reflects reality back at you, but maybe differently. The boundaries seem to dissolve between people, nature, even objects.
Leading to that phrase they used, the distilled essence of existence.
Yeah, getting down to something fundamental. You see it in the figures he photographs. They feel, well, familiar somehow.
But nameless?
Exactly. Nameless,
Yeah.
like archetypes. And the objects, too, you recognize them, but their purpose, it's not the point.
So it's more about the feeling, the mood.
Absolutely. It's about evoking these unspoken states, often just through light and shadow. Think about how a simple shadow can suggest so much.
Okay, this next idea really caught my attention. Suspended time.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
The book says it's time felt in the soul, not by a clock. A merging of the visual and the intellectual.
Right. It challenges our usual linear perception. It's like when you really engage with the image, time itself can feel different, subjective, almost stops.
And Kubaşık's framing, the way he composes the shots, actually helps slow things down.
It does. It makes you confront things you might normally just glance past. Avoid, even.
Which brings in that idea of the striking force of silence.
It's the weight of what isn't explicitly shown or said. That silence speaks volumes in his work.
So his definition of beauty is unconventional then.
Very. It embraces the flawed, the distorted, things that are lacking or maybe excessive. But the key is authenticity.
So aesthetics aren't just about looking nice.
Not at all. They become a method of confrontation. They actually magnify what we tend to avert our gaze from.
And there's mention of metaphysical resonance. What are they getting at there?
It's the idea that the photos connect to something deeper beyond the physical. Shadows, for example, aren't just lack of light.
They represent something else.
Maybe suppressed desires or, parts of ourselves we keep hidden, repressed existences, as the text puts it.
And the figures themselves, their identities seem to blur.
Yeah, things like gender, time, place, they become less defined. It moves them closer to this essential soul, which creates this interesting tension, familiar yet disturbingly unknown.
He really pushes boundaries then, mixing women, animals, objects, landscapes.
And not just representationally, it's driven by symbolism. There's this feeling of universal equality.
That's so.
A lake, a bird, a stone, a woman, they can all exist on the same plane of truth, echoing each other's significance. It's quite powerful.
So Araf, the book itself, is described as a chronicle of a process.
Right. Photography is just the beginning. Each frame is like a fragment of a thought or an intuition captured.
It's an invitation to you, the viewer, to really see, not just look. And it warns this might feel unsettling.
It's framed as an inward leap. A convergence point for the conscious and unconscious, existing right there in between darkness and light. That threshold again.
You mentioned silence earlier. The text says the works are made of silence.
Yeah, where words stop and the gaze truly begins. The visual isn't just surface. It's a depth and emptiness opening inward. Outer forms become echoes of the inner world.
So the images demand something from you.
They demand you witness them. Not necessarily approve, but have the courage to face the truth they present. Darkness here reveals. Light exposes the sharpness, the sometimes harshness of existence.
Ultimately, the in-between poses a question, doesn't it? More to your mind than just your eyes.
A question that might not have a neat answer, but one you can't easily ignore once you've encountered it.
And just for background, Kadir Kubaşık, born in Istanbul in '78, studied combined arts, marketing communication, and even philosophy for a year.
That background definitely informs the work. You can feel it.
So as a final thought for you listening, think about Kubaşık's in-between, that Araf space. Consider the thresholds in your own life. You know, those spaces between decisions or strong emotions, or moments where you're trying to understand something.
Yeah, how might focusing on what you sense in those liminal moments, not just what you logically see or think, offer you a fresh perspective, something to ponder?